This fall I had the opportunity to take a group of young women to Capitol Hill to meet some of our leaders in Congress and urge them and beg them to stand courageously to defund Planned Parenthood. Now, I didn't know all these women before we headed to Capitol Hill, and we went that morning. We picked them up from the airport, and as we were driving over in the rental minivan, I noticed that one of the young women really wouldn't smile. Jocelyn had flown in from Des Moines. She had gotten an early start at 2 in the morning, had taken 2 different flights, faced a delay, trying to get into D.C. to make it for this special lobby day. But she really wasn't smiling, and I thought maybe she's just nervous, maybe she's just shy. So our first meeting, we went to Speaker Boehner's office. And as we were meeting with his team, I sat the ladies down, I explained why we were there. We said, we want to show you the victims of Planned Parenthood, the other victims. And I asked each woman to briefly share her testimony of how abortion affected her, how Planned Parenthood hurt her. Jocelyn started to speak, and she recalled every moment from the day of her abortion. She talked about what the clinic smelled like, the color of the carpet, the color of the walls. She described the women who were sitting in the waiting room. One was in the corner on the phone, one was in front of her crying. She talked about how she and her partner had gone into the back room for the procedure. They didn't have money for the pain medicine, so she was going to be awake during the procedure. She talked about they laid her down on the table, got her set up. The abortionist comes in from behind her, from the second door in the room, sits down, mumbles to the nurses, and starts committing the abortion. She starts writhing in pain. The abortionist looks up at her and says, "Lay down or you're going to hurt yourself." He has a nurse hold her down. She's crying. Her boyfriend is crying. He finishes his job. He talks to the nurse and walks out. But Jocelyn wasn't done there. Jocelyn went on to talk about how, despite the fact that now she is now clean and sober, despite the fact that now she is a Christian, despite the fact that she knows that she has been forgiven for her abortion, she can't do certain things. She can't run a vacuum cleaner, and she can't go to a dentist. And it was at that point she kind of lifted up her gum, and she said, "You might notice I don't smile a lot." And she said that it's because I have rotting teeth. And she lifted up her gum, and she had 2 black teeth in the side of her mouth. And she said, "Every day I wake up in an extraordinary amount of pain, and it hurts all day, but I cannot bring myself to go to the dentist. I've tried several times in the last decade, but I just can't do it. Every time I walk into that office, the sounds of the dentist's tools are just like the sound of the abortionist tools." Men and women, I know when we're talking about Planned Parenthood, when we're telling people why we are here, we often hear from our family, from our friends, from our coworkers, "Yeah, but Planned Parenthood does a lot of good." Have you ever heard that? Next time you hear someone say that to you, tell them Jocelyn's story. Tell them about Jocelyn. You know, it's been almost a year since the Center for Medical Progress videos were released. It's been almost a year since the world has known just exactly what happens inside of the nation's largest abortion vendor. It's been a year. We know how far they will go to turn any profit. Just 2 weeks ago, the House Select Committee investigating Planned Parenthood released redacted documents. In one of those documents, it was an email from one of the vendors emailing Planned Parenthood in the morning and said, "Good morning. How's the pancreas forecast today?" Men and women, that's exactly what we are dealing with when we talk about Planned Parenthood, when we talk about the abortion industry. A callousness that is seeped in to our society, that we talk about how many pancreases can we get today. Now, the good news is that we're winning this generation. Now, I know this may come as a little shock to you, but the other side lies. Sometimes they like to say that they're the majority, that young people are on their side. That is a lie. In fact, in a poll that Students for Life will be releasing in just 2 weeks, 17%, only 17% of millennials agree with Hillary Clinton and Cecile Richards' view of abortion. Only 17%. And you know, this generation of young people, we've been focusing on Planned Parenthood. For the past 9 years, we've had this laser focus because we wanted to take down the Walmart of the abortion industry. And whether it's been Lila or David's undercover videos, whether it's been the constant prayer presence in front of abortion facilities with 40 Days for Life, or whether it's been one of the 1,000 campuses we've toured with our We Don't Need Planned Parenthood tours, we know this generation is waking up. We're bankrupting the brand of Planned Parenthood. We're going after those girls that they target first. But my request to you today, my plea to you today is that we need your help. I need your help because we need the church. We need your church. You see, I need stronger leaders coming from Christian churches. We need more churches at the March for Life, at the Walk for Life. I need strong, young Christian leaders in high schools, in middle schools, in college campuses to start Students for Life groups. And they're going to come from your church. We need your friends, your family, those sitting next to you in the pews. We need them electing pro-life candidates. We need you speaking out about why we have to elect a pro-life president. Because I can guarantee you, the other candidate who was in town yesterday, she will wake up every morning wanting to know what more she can do to further the culture of death in America. We need you. We need you. A survey that was released this fall was shocking. Even for me, someone who works in this mission field, was shocking. It found that 70% of women who had an abortion self-identify as Christian at the time of their abortion. And 43% of those Christian women were regularly attending church at the time of their abortion. That poll I told you that Students for Life will be releasing in a couple of weeks, we polled pastors. And I don't know if you're ready for this one. 5.5% of Protestant churches in our country have a pro-life outreach. 5.5%. Now, I can be generous and round it up to 6, but 6% have a pro-life outreach. 52% of Catholic churches have a pro-life outreach. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to be sitting in our churches every week saying, what more can we do? Because I'm telling you, there are people sitting right next to you who are hurting. Men and women who are grieving from the abortion decision they have made. There are women sitting in the pews who are right then considering whether or not to choose abortion. And this is not going to be an easy job, because we don't like to talk about abortion. It's nasty, it's ugly. It's hard to talk about. How can we talk about abortion without being judgmental? How can we give an assessment of a situation, not a judgment? But that's what we're called to do. That's what you're being called to do. You know, yesterday I was flying into D.C. to be here at this tremendous event, and I figured let's just squeeze in a protest along the agenda for lunchtime. So while you all were here, sitting in this nice air-conditioned room, we went from the airport straight to the Washington Hilton. And I sent out an email and I said, for my lunch today, I'm going to be standing in front of the Hilton as Hillary Clinton arrives to speak for Planned Parenthood. I didn't know if I'd be by myself or not. Thankfully, we had about 50 young women come out and join me. But the reason we were there was to stand up. To stand up to Hillary Clinton, to stand up to Planned Parenthood, and to let them know, to burst their little bubble of what was going into that conference that day, to say, look, you are the extreme minority in this country. We're the majority. We are the pro-life generation. The majority of our nation stands with us. The majority of our nation agrees with us that the values you promote are gruesome. They're vicious. They're evil. We were there to stand up to Planned Parenthood. We were there to stand up to Hillary Clinton. And we were there to stand up. I was there to stand up for Jocelyn. Men and women, I hope you will join us today. We're going to launch a new initiative at Students for Life in a couple weeks. You can go to churchcaptains.com and you can sign up. If you want to get more involved in your church, we can get you armed. Concerned Women does a tremendous amount of work getting churches involved. We need you to step up. We need you to stand for Jocelyn. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.